cyclical changes, the cycles that happen in life. You have them in your 20s, you have them in your 30s and your 40s. These are just periods of time where you're transitioning. It's periods of time where you have the opportunity to change. These are openings, pathways, gateways. You look in the mirror, you look at yourself, or you just start to think, who am I? What am I doing? What is this all for? Something feels off, and you can't quite put your finger on it. You might even feel empty inside. And we can stay stuck in that pause, in that time where you're questioning, or we can start to seek answers. If you look at it that way, you can use that time to shape and mold yourself, or to reveal who you truly are and who you want to show up as and what you actually want to experience in life. I believe that is why we question so much. That's why we hit this point of who are we, is because the life that we're living no longer fits anymore. We thought it was what we wanted, or it was for that time period. But also now we want something different. Again, this is a gateway for you, a time for you to choose if you want something different, to move towards that, or if you're going to stay the same. This is an opportunity. And we get stuck in the questions and not in the solutions per se, or long-term solutions. Or we just think something's wrong with us, that we're broken. Like we shouldn't be feeling that way because we've made it to a certain point. We have the success. Again, we're looking at the outside thing, the physical manifestations, and we're saying, well, I have this, or I made it here, or I haven't gotten that yet, so I must not be doing something right. We're comparing, we're looking at others. That's that whole keeping up with the Joneses, as they say. That's when you're comparing yourself to the neighbors around you. You're comparing yourself now to the social media. And we're looking at that as lack because we don't have the things that we think we want. But those are just the feelings that we want because it looks like they're happy. It looks like they're their authentic self. And that's why people get hung up on social media and people being fake and all this stuff. And it's kind of crazy to me because so many people who say those things still watch and follow and take advice from people who are doing those things. But people who show up authentically as themselves, they won't listen. They won't even watch their stuff. They won't support them. Just, it's kind of crazy to me. I mean, if I just put on certain clothes, you would look at me a certain way and assume things. And that's life, that's perception, that's society. That's how we've been conditioned, and that's what we look at things. Of course, somebody that looks dirty, you're going to assume certain things. But I like the quiet wealth, where people don't even know, and they would assume something that's not true, and that's on them. But anyway, we just look at things and assume. But again, we think that people have certain aspects about them, certain qualities, and so we look up to them. Brene Brown talks about in Dare to Be Great, great book, and she talks about how what we really are seeking, what we look at stars and we look at celebrities and we look at other people as, are courageous. It's because they look like they're courageous, because they're vulnerable. They get in front of people and speak. They are their authentic self and will accept the judgment, which, I mean, they're still human. They go through things. Like, nobody's perfect, and we all go through emotions, and things happen at certain times in our life we're more vulnerable. But people look at them as courageous, whether they know it or not. And that's what they really aspire to be like. That's what they really aspire, to have inside of them, because those people have it and they don't feel it. We would say confidence, but what it really is just courage. Okay, and so again, we look at these things physically, but we really want the emotions, the experience that comes with those things, not the things necessarily, because someone's luxury and wealth and family would look different for someone else, but it's going to give the same feelings. You know what I'm saying? Like, someone's wealth is not going to be a penthouse in Miami and having all the name brand things and all the cars and ballet and all this. Someone would feel those same feelings being in a small hut on a beach with trees that grow the fruits that they eat, and they just eat the fresh foods that's there. They're going to still feel the same things. Just because somebody has money and it looks a certain way doesn't mean that someone else cannot experience those same feelings. These are all just feelings and experiences. We are spiritual beings having an experience. And so if we limit ourselves and we dictate our value and our worth off of what we produce, we will always be in lack. We will never be enough. That's the old system. The old system is to do so that you can have, and then you will be this thing. That's the old system. What we are moving into, and I'm making you aware of this right now, and what you should be working towards, in my opinion, is to be. Then you will do and you will have. But we get caught up so much on the having too, like, because we want the thing, the having. And in order to have, we need to be this thing, so I need to do these things. So we're just all out of order. But I'm going to argue, and what I'm talking about is being. But how can you be if you don't even know who you are? And that's why you're watching this video, right? You may be feeling these things. Who am I? You're questioning everything. You've worked hard. You're where you're at now. You thought these are things that you wanted, but it's not. You may even be doubting yourself from past decisions that you've made that led you to this point in life. And you should take responsibility for your actions. You should, do the healing and the work to work through those things and those thoughts, and write these things down, journal, release them. But also know that every day is a new day. It is a gift. The present moment is a present. The air in your lungs is a gift. Your body being able to do all the things it does automatically is a gift. It's precious. When you start to change your perspective, you can be, you can exist as you are, who you are. You can accept who you are. You will then build that internal wealth. You build that internal understanding and knowing of who you are. You'll be more in alignment. And when you can get your heart into alignment with your mind, that's coming back to center. That's your true North Star on what you truly believe, and it will change your perspective on life. And when your perspective has been changed, you can now be, and then you can start to do the things that truly resonate with you. And it will just start to happen. Clarity will come as you start to move. You gotta do things. Like, it's not just gonna happen automatically. You're not gonna know enough information. You gotta just start doing the thing, and through doing it, you're gonna know the next step. You're gonna start to learn it. You're gonna see what resonates with you. Is this a hell yeah, like I want to do more of it, or is it like a no, like I'm not feeling this? And accept that. Set boundaries in place. Set non-negotiables. This was a big thing for me. The last, 3 or 4 years was setting non-negotiables with yourself. That's setting standards. And people look at standards like it's something bad. Like, again, certain people will look at wealthy people or rich people and say that they're all bad. They're all the elites and they're all doing these bad things, which, yes, of course, but they're bad people who ain't got money. Like, I'm not going to let the crackhead on the street come in my house. I'm not going to let the robber, the YN or, whatever the thing is. I'm not letting them in my house to do nothing. I'm going to watch my back because I know how those people move and how they act. Same thing with people with a lot of money. Character. These are types of people, but it doesn't matter how much money or the clothes that they wear. It's what's on the inside. And so, I base it off of character, not skin, not clothes. Okay. And, once you have discernment, intuition, and things like that, and you build that up, you're able to feel that. and see it before people even, start doing things and moving weird, and then you can make your decision on how you want to move. But I'm saying all that to say that how you want to show up in this world. And that's your decision. But a lot of us in this pause, in this sacred pause, in this in-between, in this gap between who you've been for most of your life, if not all of your life, and who you want to be or who could be, you're in this gap, in this in-between. It's like a dark path. You don't know what's to come. So you start to feel unsafe. You start to feel unsure. Especially nowadays, people are getting laid off. I've been laid off. It's hard to find jobs, the economy, everything that's going on politically, just all over the place. It's a lot happening. So it's unsure times. So that's going to breed some fear, especially when fear is perpetuated everywhere and you see it all the time. And we can go into the victim mentality at that point, that we're helpless and we're hopeless and it's dark. Again, if this path is dark, if you're walking through at night on a pathway with no lights, you're going to be afraid. So your body is sensing these things and it's triggering different things. It could be bringing up past trauma of, are you worthy from your childhood, from the experiences you've had in life? It's going to start to trigger other things in your body. Again, it's not that you're broken and that you've been doing anything wrong necessarily. Like, we do need to, again, take responsibility for our actions and things like that. And, whatever did happen to us, we need to process that. So this is the time, this is why it's a sacred pause, because this is your chance, this is your time to process all of that information. It is a pause, just like winter. Winter, for hibernation, for a lot of animals, it's a time where things go inward. It's a time of purifying, of cleansing, and deciding how you want to emerge. So use this time. Don't question why you're not somewhere because you're trying to rush. I get it. I got my goals in place. I'm all about goals and things like that and a growth mindset. And so sometimes you got to check yourself and be patient. And that word is a little triggering. Like, I don't need patience, and I don't want to pray for patience either, because that, like, you get what you ask for. But it's a pause. It is just a pause, and there's purpose in the pause. And when you accept that, when you allow that space in that time to do the process, to allow the things around you, you don't even have to do, you just be. You accept it. You start to learn yourself during that time. This is your time to do that. Instead of doing, because you're just on the go all the time. Now use this time to your advantage, for your advantage, okay? Use it to learn yourself. This is the self-discovery journey. This is the time to do that. If the caterpillar never gave time to go into the cocoon, it literally disintegrates before it emerges as something new. If it never gave that time period, however long, a couple weeks or something, I think, if it never gave that time, it would always stay on the ground and it would always crawl and it would never see life from a different angle. It would never experience life in a different way. It has to go through that process. It goes into a cocoon. I don't even know, do they even know what's about to happen? Maybe not. It's just something that they do. It's something that happens. And when they feel the call, when they feel it's time, they find their place, they go inward, they literally dissolve, they let go, they release the old, they allow for that. And then they start to develop the new, they start to rebuild new before they even emerge. They don't emerge and start building. They still spend that time, which is right now, which is why I don't celebrate the new year on the first like that. Like, I'm not, I don't believe in that. I believe in more of the lunar new year, going into spring as the new year, because of the cycles that happen. So right now, maybe you've chosen what you want to do and all these things, but it isn't time to fully emerge yet. Give it a little bit longer. Give yourself some time. It is okay. You don't need to rush the process. You trust the process. And when you trust the process, we still can get rid of more of what we don't want. And then we can fully emerge and be this person and stand 10 toes down and embody it. Full embodiment. And we know, and we can move in that. But right now is a sacred pause. This is a time for you to go on your self-discovery journey. And that's learning yourself. Like I said, that's releasing some of the trauma, releasing these things, getting down to the root causes of things. We're not rushing to the next thing. We're using this time to shed. Last year was the year of the snake. Snakes shed their skin. They don't go back and try and put the skin back on, trying to fit back into the old life. You cannot grow like that. It was an old box. You busted through the box. It was uncomfortable anyway. It wasn't working for you anyway. Now you shed the skin, and now you got to live a new life, and it's going to look different. Again, it's still going to be uncomfortable. It's going to be unknown. It's a risk you take, but you learn as you go, one step at a time, which is why you crawl before you run. And then you walk before you run. It's a little bit at a time. No one becomes a master automatically at whatever their skill or craft is. They have to, one, want to learn. Then they start to learn. And you practice, and it's repetition. And it's repetition. And you learn your technique and how you use the tools that you use. And then after repetition of the fundamental way, you can start to change it to your own way and do it easier. You can start to adjust the tools or make new tools and continue to do it. It's a journey. You're not going to automatically be somewhere and that's it. When people, and there's people that will argue in the comments with me about this all the time because they're like, oh, it's always the broke people that say blah, blah, blah. Okay, well, when you get there, you're going to remember me, okay? Wealthy people who make it to the point of having so much wealth, are rich people, having this monetary, this money, this currency, okay? When they get to that point, people who are of a sane mind, they want to give back. They get to a point of nothing else matters, so they're trying to find more meaning in their life, and they want to start to give at that point. Because the thing is, once you have it all, then what? Then what? We're chasing feelings and emotions. So you can be happy where you are right now. But yes, of course, it's what else do you want to experience? You need money to experience different things. Of course, that happens. And that's why I like the growth mindset, because, we continually grow and continue to change. You will have these seasons, these periods of pause often, and that is, again, your gateway. This is your time to change. This is the opportunity. But continue to chase something that's so far off in a distance that someone told you that you should have, or you thought you should have it because that's what everybody else does, is not going to be fulfilling to you. Because once you get there, it's not going to be fulfilling. You're going to want something else. So I'd argue to go inward, do some self-discovery, become more of your authentic self. And then we will start to do some things. And once we start doing it, experiencing life, choosing to show up in that way, then we will have the things that actually resonate with us on a soul level, on a deeper level. And again, it is okay with where you're at now. You're not broken. It happens. It's uncomfortable. It's the unknown. You do feel. These are just feelings. You're feeling things. Yes, it's true. It's valid. When you're in it, you're in it. Feel the emotions, but don't stay there. Sometimes we're our own worst enemy, as they say. You can unlock the door yourself. You can let yourself out. You can step out of that box. But once you do, you choose to move forward as this new version of yourself. You will lose people. You will lose relationships. You will lose jobs. You will lose things, possessions. You will lose an old identity, and you have to grieve that. And I will discuss that in another video coming up. But you have to grieve that old version of yourself. It's an ego death. Because your ego is an identity. You're trying to protect this identity. Because you've always been that person. And that person's always showed up for you, right? You've learned how to do things to show up for yourself. And how to move through life and how to survive. But we no longer want to survive. We want to thrive. And so You have to let go of the old. And there's an internal ego death that you go through before you can step into the new. But this is a sacred pause. You allow for that process, that transition to happen, to emerge, to allow the transformation to fully emerge and become who it is that you want to become. Again, allow for it, but allow the sacred pause. We don't need to fight it. Again, we try to attach to things. That's a part of it, is attaching. And now we're attached to this identity. We're attached to these relationships. We're attached to these things because that's all we know. So what is life if we don't have those things? It will be okay. You will figure it out. Things will happen. Okay, you are okay. Like you're gonna make it through. You have up to this point, right? It's been uncomfortable certain times. You've been unsure. You've made it. You've gotten past that. These are cycles that happen. So don't stay stuck because you're keeping yourself stuck. Allow for the process to happen. You have to let go. You have to grieve certain things. It will be lonely sometimes. You will be unsure. This is like a dark time because you can't see what's next. You don't know what's next. But I would say go on the self-discovery journey. Start to learn yourself again. This new version of you. You didn't know it before. What does this new version really like? Am I changing my food? So I need to start trying new foods. Am I changing up the way that I drive to work and the way that I drive to certain places? Explore. Am I changing up my morning routine or my nightly routine? Try out different things. Switch it up. Put the phone down. Decide and start to do. And then you start to discover, what do you like? Pick up some new hobbies. Go to the park, even if it's cold. You will survive. Put some clothes on. You'll be okay. Even if it's for a little while. Whenever you switch up your routine, it starts to unlock and open up different pathways in your mind. You can start to reprogram yourself. So allow for the time. Give yourself permission to do this right now. Give yourself permission to slow down. It's okay to rest. It's okay to pause. It's okay to not know. And it's okay to relearn yourself. Rebuild. Get rid of some of those old clothes. That's an old identity. Start to declutter. Slowly start now. And by spring, you will be in a position where you've gotten rid of a lot of stuff and it will feel good. The sun will start setting later. It will be a bit warmer. It will feel better. It will be a good time to emerge and start to set into place these other habits that you want. Right now, it's this identity. It's who we are. And I would say that it is revealed through the sacred pause. And you get to decide whether you're going to want to move into the new or stay in the old. So, listen, you got this. You got this. Stop beating yourself up. The world will do that for you. Give yourself permission. Allow yourself this time. Know that it will work out. It will be, you will be unsure. But I would argue if you change your perspective and you make it an adventure, you make it an exploration, you make it fun. Some people will say romanticize your life. Wake up and say, what's new today? Anything could happen. It's not going to be the same. I may go to the same job, but I'm going to switch up the way I get there. Or I'm going to bring my lunch. Or I'm going to order from somewhere else. Or I'm going to show up and act a little different around my coworkers. Or I'm going to ask them some questions. Or I'm just going to have a smile on my face and wait and watch and see what happens today, because something different will happen today. Be expectant for it. Have some enthusiasm for life. It doesn't just happen to you. You bring that and watch what happens. When you start to move differently, you change what happens around you. It is a choice, it is your perspective, it is your belief. And then we show up and we see what happens. So enjoy this self-discovery journey. It will be interesting. Be expectant on things to change and be different. And anything could happen at any moment. And it doesn't have to be negative. It could be something positive. It could be interesting. It's just a little switch up. See what happens. And let me know in the comments. If you switched up something, what did you do and what changed? What was something small that changed? Start to pay attention to the little things. This is your time, the sacred pause. And as always, continue to shine on.